This is The Grip by The Plenteous Life. Blinded by story, deconstructing experience to uncover truth. Welcome back to The Grip. I'm Becky Henderson, founder and principal coach of The Plenteous Life. I was strolling through lively downtown Austin on my way to meet my fiance for lunch. I stepped off the crosswalk and onto the sidewalk when, bam, everything went black. I couldn't see a thing. Someone was attacking me in broad daylight. Their grip so tight it completely blinded me. Adrenaline surged. My survival brain roared to life. I was ready to punch, kick, and scream my way to freedom. Until I caught a whiff of cologne. His cologne. I wasn't being attacked. I was being hugged by the man I loved, who thought I'd spotted him as he waved at me from across the street just a moment before. The second my vision went dark, my brain didn't wait. It handed me one story. You're in danger. It was instant, automatic, and utterly wrong. But I almost turned into the Tasmanian devil because of it. My experience in that moment is a picture of the challenge we all face in getting a handle on our default stories. Default stories are automatic and in turn drive behavior. You always behave in a manner consistent with the story you're telling. And the trickiest part is default stories are almost impossible to identify unless you know where to look. Today, we're showing you how to deconstruct an experience to effectively identify the default stories impacting your life. This is the first step in a two-step process for liberating yourself from the disempowered stories you tell. Next week, we'll give you the rest of the process with step 2. Let's dive in. Deconstructing experience. An experience is derived from the combination of two things taking place simultaneously: what happened and your story about it. It creates the illusion that your story is what happened. But the truth is, what happened and your story about it are two separate matters. As we said last week, you're not having a direct experience with life. You're having a distorted experience, filtered through your story about life. Essentially, your experience is comprised of 5% what happened and 95% story. Story is the biggest driver of experience. So the equation is this: what happened, 5%, plus story, 95%, equals your experience. Let's break down each part of this equation so you can see exactly how they work together. Part 1, what happened? What happened is information, just the facts and only the facts. It's reality. It can be observed by others because it took place outside your mind. It is low drama and void of any inherent meaning. In the words of Werner Erhard, it is what it is and ain't what it ain't. Part 2, story. Your story is what you say about what happened, your interpretation. It is the filter that distorts and colors the facts. It's illusion. And it can't be observed by others because it resides in your imagination. It is high drama and filled with the meaning you give it. It's a description of what is and isn't. The primary vehicle for your story is language. You'll find your story in any of the following: thoughts, words, images, concepts, predictions, judgments such as good or bad, right or wrong, should or shouldn't, blame, victimhood, mind reading, assumptions, inherited stories. These are the stories that get handed down from one generation to the next. Your story can be empowering or disempowering. You can create heroes just as easily as monsters, palaces as easily as prisons. Your story can be created intentionally or happen by default. In part 3, experience. Experience is the impact on your quality of life. It's made up of your emotions, feelings, behaviors, actions, decisions, and responses. It also includes the possibilities, options, and opportunities you see. It leaves you with lessons and learnings that further inform your filter of perception, identifying your default story. Every experience you've ever had can be summed up by the deconstructing experience equation. That said, identifying your own particular story in that equation can be incredibly difficult initially. We've got two ways to help you get started. First is a review of common default stories, and second is an assessment for your specific stories. Common default stories. The following is a list of default stories we often see in our clients. These are common to being human and particularly prevalent in innovators and leaders. You likely can relate to one or more below. Number 1, I'm not enough, or I don't measure up. Number 2, something is wrong here, or something is wrong with me, or with them. Number 3, I'm in trouble. Number 4, I can't trust people. Number 5, life is hard. Number 6, there is never enough fill in the blank, time, money, resources, etc. Number 7, nothing works out for me. Number 8, people suck. Number 9, I can't get ahead no matter how hard I try. Number 10, this shouldn't be happening. Number 11, I'd rather be alone. Number 12, being alone is terrifying. And number 13, I had no choice. Now, the assessment for specific stories. To dig further, you can audit the following areas of your life to uncover specific default stories unique to you. Remember from last week, the framework for your stories gets established at a young age and then reinforced throughout the rest of your life. Your default stories are often the behavior of your subconscious brain just running the instructions it learned a long time ago. These stories will often sound absurd to your conscious adult mind. So, for the practice of identifying your default stories, audit these areas through the lens of 7-year-old you or any other previous age where significant life shaping events occurred. These old programs are the default stories currently running amok in your life. What meaning does each of the following hold for you? Number 1, your automatic reactions. At what do you get angry, frustrated, hopeless, or anxious? Number 2, your automatic or repetitive self-talk. This is often negative and critical. Number 3, messages growing up about what is and isn't possible for you, your capabilities, money, relationships, health, career. Number 4, messages from home, school, community, and culture regarding what's good and bad, right and wrong, should or shouldn't. Number 5, any conscious desire that continues to be unattainable after years of effort. Number 6, painful experiences, trauma, loss, heartache, failure, or injustice. And number 7, repeated patterns of life turning out in undesirable ways. There is nothing inherently good or bad about the stories you tell. What matters is the impact they're having on your life. Learning to identify them puts you in a position to alter any story you're ready to stop telling and empowers you to tell new ones that serve you instead. Use this week to identify your stories. Write them down. Next week, you'll use those stories in step 2 of the process to create new experiences and set yourself free. Keep creating. This has been another issue of The Grip. From all of us at The Plenteous Life, may you prosper in every way.